I follow it around the world. I can't keep up. The story never ends as long as we have blood and cuts. Because I want it all. I can't get enough. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, back just a couple weeks before Christmas.
Blood and cuts?
Yes.
Not guts?
Not guts.
Really?
Cuts.
Blood and cuts.
Yes. That's a slow death.
Oh.
Kind of like Mao.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I don't know any bands that sing blood and cuts. Should I make a guess?
Okay. Go ahead.
I have no idea. That's my guess. No fun this week because I just straight out admit I have no idea.
Well, that's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
Bob Marley and the Wailers. No, I don't know.
What? Well, you know.
Would that have been Blood and Guts or something like that? I like Bob Marley a lot. I think he's
I do
terrific.
too. He was amazing. But yeah, that would be a little bit different.
Hard to believe. 37 years since he's passed. 1981.
Wow.
He passed away.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, both him and John Lennon went pretty close. And
Lennon, I think, was in 80.
Yep.
And I think Bob Marley was in like the spring of 81.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Now,
Sad time.
Refresh my memory.
Yes.
Mark David Chapman. Why did he shoot John Lennon? Was that ever established? I know John Hinckley was trying to impress, what's her name?
Yeah, I think he was just nuts.
Jodie Foster.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so he was just cuckoo?
I think so, yeah.
I never understood why.
Either that or Pete Best put him up to it. The fifth Beatle that he actually didn't make it with the other four.
Yeah.
Anyways, that band, Death from Above, 1979, with the song Trainwreck, 1979. And
1979.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Pirates 4, Baltimore Orioles 3.
Ooh.
We Are Family Pirates win it all. Burt Blyleven was on that.
I like the Pirates.
I was a fan of them. Hard to believe that team didn't get to a World Series when Bonds was there and Doug Drabeck and Bobby Bonilla, Andy Van Slyke. And I'm trying to think of those years, 90 to 92.
Yeah, I loved their hats. You know, they were different than every other baseball team, and I loved it.
You talk about 1979. How about those uniforms with the black pants and the... I mean, I always said the old Houston Astros had the worst uniforms I ever saw. It's really not close.
Yeah.
But those pirate uniforms were different. We'll call it different.
True. True. All
Death
right.
from
Well,
above.
anyways, you'll hear it if you go out right now to the Community Solutions songs from the podcast playlist out there on Spotify. We throw them all out there. This song, it's a newer song, actually. Just came out within the past few years, and I enjoy it quite a
But
bit.
you said it was from 1979.
No, that's the band.
Oh.
So the band isn't from 1979 either. That's just in the title.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's those newfangled bands kind of have odd names sometimes.
Well,
But this is one of the better ones. When we say nothing good comes out anymore, that's not exactly true. So,
I think it's nothing good commercially. I think there's a lot of great undergrounds. I think you're right when you say there's a lot of great independent stuff out. But yeah, I would say a song from today I wouldn't know from. You could.
Yeah.
Last time I heard the top 40, A, Casey Kasem was still alive, and B, it was the old Sunday nights on KGWB. So I'm going back to, early 90s days. I'm going back maybe.
wow, that's crazy.
Long time.
Crazy.
The top 40 with Casey Kasem.
All right. Well, we're gonna eventually get around to the song was pointing to blood and cuts and just I want it all. I can't get enough. That's what our cities say, and we're gonna find that out in our schools and our counties. That's kind of their motto. I want it all. I can't get enough. I could have done the Queen song, I suppose. I want it all. But
is that Queen?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But we'll deal with that. Maybe a different time we'll bring that up. But we're going to start somewhere else first.
Well, Jay, you know that Minnesota, the biennium up here has a projected what the politicians call a surplus. Now, Jay, let me tell you something. Words are important. I've learned a lot over the years by listening to Frank Luntz. Political people know who he is. He's a pollster. He's runs focus groups. And he wrote a book called Words Matter or Words That Work or something like that years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I never forget what he said. Let me give you a good example.
Okay.
And maybe I've told you this off the air before. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the air. You talk about things like health care reform. And what do you hear Republicans say? Well, we need tort reform.
Right.
Well, tell me, what's a tort?
They're delicious. Sometimes
exactly.
they have raspberry in them.
Right.
Right.
That's what I think of, a Pop-Tart.
Yes. More or less.
You think of things... Okay, you know what it's called? You know what Frank Luntz calls that?
What?
Lawsuit abuse reform.
Yes, and he's correct.
Right. That there's nobody understands what that... We need portability. The hell does that mean?
I think
it's portable. You carry it around.
Exactly. I can get from one lake to the next.
Yeah, the lakes are portable. Exactly.
Like I portage a canoe. I can. Yeah.
I know what you're saying, and I'm telling you, Republicans stink at articulating this stuff. I mean, forget there's an old saying: Republicans play to your head, Democrats play to your heart.
Right.
I think that's overgeneralization. I think that you have to learn how to frame something, not deceivingly, but properly. Now, let me ask you something.
Okay.
When I say the state government has a surplus, tell me what you think that means. And then I'm going to tell you how wrong you are.
To me, it would mean that they have some money. They're not in debt.
State government is very much in debt.
Absolutely.
They're not in debt on their budget fiscally.
Right.
Again, that's part of where I'm going with this.
Absolutely, and that's why I said it.
Yeah. Oh, you did that on purpose. Okay.
I did. Yeah.
Now, a surplus, this is what it actually means. It means for the fiscal year July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2021, every single government...
Explain that, because we're talking about a biennium here.
Right. The state of Minnesota's budget starts July 1st of the odd year.
Right.
So they do... The budget they're talking about now starts July 1st.
And it's 2 years.
2 years.
Every other year.
Biennium.
You do the budget 1 year and you do bonding the next year. So, yes, I did know that we are in debt because we bond every other stinking year.
Right. And it's just like, I mean, and you can still do budgeting in the second year. You can amend the budget.
Yeah.
They do that anyway because they come up with 2 forecasts every year. But every single government program is paid for. Every built-in raise is paid for. Every built-in increase is paid for. And guess what? There's still money left over.
Right.
Okay, that's what that means. So all the people whining in education are getting every single cent that they have been told they're going to get.
Right. After they figure out how much they want to spend, there is money left over.
So,
yes.
Why do we call that a surplus? You know what that's called?
Overtaxation.
Overtaxation.
I like it. Yes.
So put it to you this way. If I walked into a grocery store, and let's just say I bought $68 worth of groceries, handed the dude behind the counter four $20 bills. Can the grocery store say to me, well, you know what? We got some renovations planned and some things we want to buy. We're going to keep your $12 of change as a surplus for us.
Right.
Now, that's outrageous.
Right. Only government can do that.
Only government does
Like
this.
if you're going to ride Metro Transit and the fare is $3.50 to get where you're going and all you have is a $5, guess what? You're paying $5 for that ride.
You're not getting change.
Oh, no.
I've ridden the bus before. You got exact change, they're keeping it.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, imagine we have the technology today to land a robot on Mars, but the the buses in the metro area can't make change for a 5.
Well, I mean that is really good, but Subway has the ability for you to tap your card on a little reader and it will take it automatically, and the bus knows. Stick in your dollar bills, stick in your change, and there you go.
That's amazing.
Whatever you pay, you pay.
Like I said, if the government could upgrade to Windows 95, we would.
Yeah.
It would definitely improve things. So it is not a surplus. And if 1 cent of this surplus, using air quotes on the radio, or as I call it, overtaxation, is kept, that is a tax increase.
Yes, it is.
1 cent. Now, find me a Minnesota legislator, some of them I like and admire, who explains it the way I just explained it. Or are they all going, hey, I'd like to cut this and cut that, but what I'd really like to do is get reelected.
Yeah.
What can I bring home to my district or my city, or so on and so? It's almost better to have a deficit, because then nobody expects anything. Everybody's just scrambling to break even.
Right. A deficit, I think, shows poor planning, but I think a surplus also shows poor planning. We had Mayor Adams on the show recently and talked about planning for the future, long-term planning. Now, it's not a surplus when you plan on saving money for replacing a road, replacing a city hall, and you're actually planning on that, and you save that money so that you're not writing a bond and then having the taxpayers foot the bill for the interest, or having road reconstruction and having the city write a bond and then sticking specific taxpayers with the entire bond and the city not paying anything. That's different. When you're saving long term and you've planned on it, that is not a surplus. A surplus, like we've said, it's money you didn't anticipate ending up with.
Well, and it can happen. I mean, if the economy does well or does poor, not everything can be forecasted. But at the same time, I mean, we've known about this projected. I mean, I should say projected, because February is when the governor will base, who is constitutionally obligated to submit a budget in February.
Right.
And they've got till May, whatever it is. I haven't looked at the calendar to pass till the end of session. Technically, they have till July 1st.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you already have known that there's this. And we had a surplus last time, and they kept a bunch of the money.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, and both parties were a party to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I have to assume that 70, 80, with the makeup of the incoming legislature, they've got, and here's what's worse. It's worse to spend it, because here's what's going to happen. They're going to get, all these departments are going to get more money, and guess what? Now it's going to be part of their baseline.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're going to expect all that the next time.
Absolutely, they are.
So it's just a total joke up there. But I'll tell you what, you people we have got to stop saying budget surplus, and we've got to start saying over taxation. We don't need 1 cent of this surplus for the next 2 years. Period.
No, I would like it. You know, I would like my portion of that, because I could use it. You know,
who couldn't?
It's Christmas. Maybe I'd like to buy an extra gift. It's
like one for yourself.
Well, maybe. What's wrong with that?
Nothing at all.
But and you mentioned, I don't think we mentioned the price tag here. Or it's not really a price tag. It will be by the time they get done with it. And it's not a 1 cent surplus.
No,
it's not even $100,000 surplus. It's not $1 million surplus. We're talking $1.5 billion with a B, $billion here, Andrew.
$1.5 billion. I mean, you can't even imagine that much money.
No, I'm trying to. I'm trying to think what I would look like rolling around in $1.5 billion, but
I don't know, but
can't.
you'd never get me to leave. We'll roll around in it forever.
I don't know. No, $1.5 billion they overtaxed us. I remember receiving a check from the government when Jesse Ventura was in office, and there was a quote-unquote surplus or overtaxation.
I love how they called it a rebate.
Right, a rebate. How about you not take it in the first place?
But, I mean, a credit to Governor Ventura. I mean, he campaigned on that, and he got it.
Yeah.
I know he's kind of weirded me out now, but...
what do you mean?
Yeah. Minnesota. Interesting thing.
Yeah.
I just want to say something a little off the cuff, because I was watching, my wife and I were watching Kindergarten Cop the other night. And it's got some of the greatest Arnold quotes.
Yeah.
Not quite not get to the chop off. Not quite that one. But the who is your daddy and what does he do? And it's not a tuba. Not a tuba. But I have to say something about, I don't know why I thought of, maybe I was thinking of Predator or something when you mentioned Governor Ventura. I would say President Bush, we had one in 2001. We had a rebate too.
Yeah.
That rebate. A refund, I should say, on our taxes, an extra one that we, on top of what we should have gotten. Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay, has been in this country since 1968.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you lose your accent when you are... I mean, as a young man, I spent some time in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I started talking Southern after about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it takes me less than that. But
it's like the Jeff Foxworthy Redneck Dictionary. Mm-hmm. That's like required reading. It's pretty Southern down there.
Well, it is.
Hey, Jeet yet? I mean, you just pick it up. I don't know how to. You just start communicating like that.
Right.
It's worse than North Dakotian. But I'll tell you what. How is it after 50 years, Arnold Schwarzenegger still has that California accent? I mean, I don't know. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, look at. We talked last week about President Bush, who passed away. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now George W. moves down to Texas and develops a Southern accent.
Yes.
Okay. Now he's not a Texan by birth.
Right.
Okay. So he went down there and developed that accent.
Yeah.
Okay. He started talking like everybody else down there.
Yeah.
So how come a guy? I don't know. I'm just kind of fascinated.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's a bridge too far to cross.
I don't know. Maybe.
Across the Atlantic. I don't know.
It's not a tuba. Not a tuba.
Oh, boy. So, yeah. Anyways, we're looking at $1.5 billion. And I don't think we're going to get a quote-unquote rebate or refund on that, at least, not as much as we should get, which is $1.5 billion. But I don't know. It sounds like they've already got plans.
I think the DFL is ready to divvy it up to all of their constituencies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I think is going to happen. I think all their unions are going to get a chunk of it. Maybe they'll start fighting with each other. I mean, which might be kind of fun. But I guarantee you, DFLers, I mean, teachers' unions and stuff, they went to bat for DFLers, and they're expecting a payback.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure they're in a position to give any of it back.
Yeah. Well, I love how the Pioneer Press said this. This is how they opened their article. Here's the good news. This is good news. A sound economy will leave Minnesota with a roughly $1.5 billion budget surplus over the next 2 years, according to state projections released Thursday. Tell me how that is good news, that we have a $1.5 billion surplus that is in the hands of the government and not in the pockets of the people.
Why don't they thank President Trump a little bit for some of his economic policies, too? Mm-hmm. We don't have a sound economy because of Mark Dayton, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Minsure, and I mean, does that help the sound economy here in Minnesota? You know how many Fortune 500 companies we lost under Governor Dayton?
Yeah, I
it's
don't
kind
know.
of a myth that I think Minnesota's economy is doing well in spite of the government, not because of it.
Right. Well, and this is the thing. I mean, this is happening now because it's not reality, and when the rubber hits the road, I think that we will see totally different thing happen. But Republicans are saying that any talk of a tax hike should end, and Democrats are not ruling out any tax hikes, including a gas tax hike to fund road improvements.
Oh,
even
Governor
though
Walz has been campaigning on that the entire time.
$1.5 billion.
Well, again, to me, it's just part of the war on cars. I think it's got nothing to do with money. I mean, if they want to fund roads, I mean, they've got stop building sidewalks and bike paths. If you have to prioritize things. And that's what they don't want to do. They don't want to say this spending's more important than this spending. They don't want to say no to anybody. They want to say yes to everybody.
Absolutely.
So that's impossible. I think it's... And again, I mean, I go back to what happened to supporting the working man. You raise people's gas, there's no more regressive tax out there than that.
Right.
So it's absurd. But I'm not surprised. The governor-elect was pretty brazen that he wanted a large... Tell you what, maybe what's happening in France will start happening here.
Yeah, maybe.
And keep in mind, people in France are not rebelling against a gas tax. It's against the climate agenda.
Right.
That's what they're really fighting.
Yeah. Which,
it's not being reported that way.
Under Governor Walz, I don't know that he's going to shrink back from that either.
Whether he is or isn't, he's supported by the forces that aren't. So,
yeah.
But I'll tell you what, he's walked back a lot of, what he built up as a congressman in my book.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, people do that when their ambition gets in the way.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and this is kind of leading into today's topic, is talking about taxes, blood and guts, wanting it all, that it doesn't matter whether it's a state biennium with $1.5 billion in surplus. Their counterparts at the county, school board, and city level are doing the same thing. They're all raising taxes. Well, I don't want to say all of them. Of course, Oak Grove has not raised their tax levy for 6 years in a row. It's been 0% increase. So I'd just like to applaud the outgoing Mayor Mark Corrin and his city council for that amazing feat.
The best mayor anywhere. We lost the best mayor anywhere.
So,
in my opinion.
Yeah. But every other city pretty much seems to be raising it. The school boards and the county boards.
League of Minnesota Cities, not a source I love.
Oh, yes.
They can't brag enough about raising taxes. 5.7% across the state is the average raise of a municipality. 6.2% for cities.
Yeah.
So that is a whole huge chunk. And as we're going to get into, it's across the board. I mean, I don't care if you live in a red area, a blue area, a purple area, a green area, pistachio area. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
You're pretty much facing. You can't get away. You can't get away from this. And you know what? Here's the thing: if your city's not doing it, I bet your school. I bet in Oak Grove.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe Mayor Corrin and the city council are doing a great job. But it doesn't mean. I mean, doesn't mean the county is.
No.
Well, Anoka County's not so bad.
They're not so bad. No.
And doesn't mean their school district isn't. Whatever school district's up there, I don't know. Met Council's taxing them.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I mean, they can work on their portion, which is probably, depending on whether they have a watershed or something else like that, maybe 30%, maybe something like that is Oak Grove's on just on that in their city. But that can be totally undone by County X or School Board Y.
Yeah.
And, of course, you'd think we'd build up to a crescendo here. But I'm going to start with the worst city council in
the history of
Western civilization, the city of New Hope. These people, I'm baffled at how brazen this city is. The December 10th meeting of the No Hope City Council, approved an increase in the general fund. Now, again, this is where they play numbers games. Their general fund budget, which of course isn't all they spend. I mean, this is good spin here.
Yes.
Had a 3.5% increase over 2018. However, the tax levy it will increase 18.5%.
What?
Yeah,
18.5%. Like you have $100 bill. You're almost handing over a 20.
Just about.
Just to pay your taxes.
And remember the way property taxes are here in Minnesota, like we've explained, the median household. So somebody could see a 10% increase. Somebody could see a 20% increase. Mm-hmm. This is just in the city portion.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And keep in mind, I mean, New Hope has, 51% rentals?
Somewhere in
that.
50.
So because you have so many people that rent in a city of 23,000, you have a lot fewer people to share the wealth when it comes to paying those.
True.
I mean, you do have more businesses, industrial type things than in some other cities, but you have a lot fewer people sharing that burden.
You have fewer house properties. However, renters will see this.
Oh, yeah.
Because that will get passed off to them. That old landlord's not going to eat an 18.5%.
Would you?
I wouldn't eat a 1% increase if I could pass it off to somebody. I mean, this will result probably in a huge increase in rent, too. The majority of the levy increase is for the new police station and city hall bonds. Well, guess what?
Hey, we told people about that.
Oh, didn't we? Did we do that?
We said, hey, watch, because your tax levies are going to go up in New Hope.
Well, and let's not even stop there. You're not done paying for this thing.
No, when are
Budget's going to increase a ton next year because you got to service those bonds.
Oh, yeah.
So once again, it's deceiving. Of course, they don't say that, of course, on the city website. The estimated impact of the city levy on a residential property, which, of course, isn't the only property there, is $105 to $333 a year.
What? Who can afford that?
A year. Imagine if you're a new, you get a $333 increase in the city portion of those property taxes.
That's not the county portion. That's not
Robbinsdale School just passed a levy.
Yeah. Oh, my word.
You'll be happy to know that New Hope is spending it very, very wisely.
Hey, it's just a cup of coffee an hour.
That's right. Everybody's getting a 3%, quote, living adjustment for employees with an increase of the city's share of health insurance coverage, which is another way of saying they're getting a raise.
Yes.
The amount, blah, 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 doesn't matter. Oh, and a 3% increase in city council salaries. Hey, got to give yourself a raise.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you want to do that? And they can feel, there's a law that says you can't raise it during the term. It's got to come during the next term. Well, you're pretty safe in New Hope because nobody runs.
I think that's at the state level. I don't know if that's at the city level.
I don't think you can do it in the middle of a term. That seems kind of... But in New Hope, it's like they're doing it in the middle of a term because nobody opposes them ever. So it's like, hey, during my next term, I'd like to make more money. Let's hike it up.
And once again, New Hope always does this at the end when they have this. They always try to, and I've seen this with cities too. They'll say, well, we're increasing it, but not quite as much as this guy. Now, New Hope can't make that argument.
Oh no, they can't.
They can't. But here, listen to this last paragraph. By the way, I am at ci.newhope.mn.us. And this is their news page. It's right on the front here, folks. So they're brazenly not hiding it. While the overall tax rate may appear high, you think so? When compared to other cities, this is because New Hope includes infrastructure improvements in general property tax levy rather than assessing to property tax owners. Well, it's funny. Crystal's doing the same thing, but they're not going up 18%, are they?
No, they're not. How are they doing it?
Thus, New Hope does not assess taxable properties for street improvements. Well, there's a lot of cities that don't. I mean, the real truth is there are.
Yeah.
And I don't see any of their taxes going up 18.5%. $333 on one property a year increase.
That's ridiculous. Well, and that's about as bad as you're going to find. And some of you are going to think that is just a problem for the metro area. That kind of tax increase, that's what you get for living in the city. It is. That's what you get for living in the city. But that doesn't mean the city of New Hope. But then there's the city of Austin. Whoa, that's not in the metro. They, according to the Austin Daily Herald, have been discussing the 2019 budget, and expenses are calling for a $932,000 or 15.7% increase in the tax levy.
Holy S.
Yeah, that is coming $500,000 for a compensation/classification study.
What?
That it hopes to implement next year, which they're studying basically the makeup of their government. You find later in the article. Yeah, and then other increases come from contractually obligated pay increases for staff, and a $200,000 housing initiative and funds committed to the new community rec center. Spending money well down in Austin.
Yet, of course, they claim that the primary driver is 62% of our budget is personnel, is cost of living increases, and the compensation and classification study. What do you want to bet that results in more money for the employees?
Yeah.
A lot of our peer cities have
they already said that, yeah.
A lot of our peer cities have done comp and class studies multiple times. Oh, well, then I guess you have to catch up with them then.
Right.
We got to monkey see, monkey do. We've got to do what they're doing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that maybe Austin should get the nickname New Hope Jr. because it says also in here that the proposed levy increase is close to 60% over the span of 4 years.
The city raised taxes 13.6% in 2016.
And 17.
Yeah, and 2018 saw a 9.6% increase.
Wow, all that Hormel money must be really good down there. So it goes into this in the article showing that it's going to be $60 for you if you have a home that's just over $100,000. But if you have almost $1 million home, it's going to be over $1,500 increase, and it could be anywhere in between. I mean, it's not out of the norm for somebody to have a house that's $225,000. That's going to be a $171 increase.
Well, and here's another beauty. Once again, they try to claim that they're better than the cities around them. While acknowledging tax rates in Austin are low compared to other cities. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong. I don't know who this Clark guy is, but Clark Griswold, we'll call him. Points out that other cities are spending more. So they have to catch up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how do they do it? We try to be as frugal as possible. So 60% over 4 years is as frugal as possible.
Oh, yeah. They're living like paupers over there in Austin, Minnesota. And because of the Hormel plant, there are a lot of immigrants, especially Hispanic immigrants, that move into that area to try and get jobs around and in with Hormel. So how do you think that affects them? If you're coming into this country, we'll say even legally, you're coming into this country and you're starting out, and your taxes are going up 60% over 4 years.
Well,
what does that do to somebody?
Well, it takes the sting out of getting a great job. You get a good job, you get a new house, you get situated, if you got a bright future ahead.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you get that bill, And then if you couple it with, say, a gas tax increase at the state level, remember, this is the city portion. What's the county? What's the school district tax?
And I would also like to add that Austin is number 6 on the list for recipients of LGA, local government aid.
Why the hell do they get so much?
They get over $8.1 million.
What?
From the state, yes.
You sure you got that right?
It's right here in black and white.
Austin Daily Herald?
Yeah.
I got to look into that.
Yep.
That doesn't sound right to me.
Well, that's what it says here. $8,151,133 in LGA, ranking 6th in the state out of 867 listed communities. So, I mean, that's more than just the cities. That's everybody.
And it's not enough, apparently. They've been petitioning the legislature to increase LGA. So they want more of the state.
They want more LGA. They want more of your tax money. It doesn't end. Does not end. And for what? $500,000 for a study on how their government is structured. A new community center or rec center, whatever, same thing. Pay increases. It's just government stealing money by force and giving it to themselves.
City administrator Craig Clark. That's the guy I'm talking, not Clark Griswold. That's just sick. I mean, it's just sick.
Yeah.
I'm sure it passed unanimously. I bet they got nothing.
I'm sure.
You got nothing down there.
I'm sure. And outside of the metro, I mean, Litchfield. That's kind of the other direction. That's way out west.
Cloud County, one of the reddest counties in the entire state. 6.3%, Jay.
Yeah, that's kind of right in with the average, isn't it?
Pretty much. And they only get 1/3 of their revenue through property taxes. I wonder what the hell else they're getting it from.
30%. Are you serious? So 60%. Well, 66%.
CrowRiverMedia.com.
66% would be from hidden taxes. That's what you're telling me.
Fees, permits,
general assessments, bonds, TIF districts,
city golf course, whatever they've got.
66% is hidden
that's
taxes.
That's what it says here.
Litchfield, what are you doing?
Listen to this, though.
Yeah.
The increase is, and again, this is screwy because there's an increase to the general fund and there's an increase to overall spending.
Okay.
So those two things aren't the same, but we've talked about that before. I don't want to break that down.
Right.
The increase in the property tax levy, listen to what it was attributed to. The addition of a school resource officer. Isn't that the school's job?
Yeah. Yeah, that should be the school paying for that.
But, I mean, why don't you just have Barney Fife? What's a school resource?
Well, school resource officer. Actually, it might be the city paying for that because it's a police officer that is resourced out to the school.
Full-time?
Full-time. Yep. They set up, well, it depends on the school district. I'm sure. I can't say they're all full-time, but I know like in the cities, you've got at least one officer on duty full-time when school is in session.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
They've been doing that forever. I remember leaving Cooper back in the 90s.
That's a new world
for
me.
Okay.
Up in Proctor, we didn't have those problems.
If they're policing around the school, can't that just be normal?
Well, they're also in the school, though.
Okay.
They like have an office in the school, and they're in the hallways in between classes, and Now, it may look different in Litchfield than it does at Cooper. You might. Litchfield is a smaller town, but it's big enough apparently that they need a resource officer.
Or this district has it, this city has it, this city has it, so we're going to have it too.
True.
Also being spent on storm sewer fund increases, a splash pad.
Oh, of course, you got to have that.
And the initiation of a convention visitors bureau through the Chamber of Commerce. staff wage increases, and the city having to rely on less LGA. 1/3 of the city revenue comes from property taxes. So they must get a large chunk of local government aid. I mean, but that's pretty unusual to be that large down there. So, I mean, again, a splash pad. I mean, they said a visitors bureau. Let me ask you something. If you're a city and you go, gee, we need a school resource office, and maybe they do. Like, you're right. I don't know what the issues are over there. Is that the right year to add a splash pad?
Probably not. I don't know. Maybe that's where the resource officer goes in the summer, and he can police the splash pad.
Splash pad officer?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's the thing about a city like Litchfield. I mean, it's not. I don't want to say it's a super small city, but you're looking at a city of what are they? 5,000 or 6,000? 6,574. Yet they still have a $5.3 million operating budget, which I think I would call that pretty high for a city of that.
Yeah.
Of that, I mean, I believe Crystal's is somewhere around 12, 13, 14
that's
million.
About right.
For a city of 22,000.
Yeah.
So that, and remember, they've been putting things on that and off of the CAFR.
Right.
So a lot of the increases have been shifting.
Yeah, then
I might
that's
be wrong on those numbers.
It's shifting. It's not increases. You're just you're taking hidden taxes and making them visible to the public.
You're putting everything on one spot.
Now, that's not what's happening in Litchfield. So you said 5.3 million. Can you take a look for me at the population of Worthington, Minnesota?
Oh,
just to confirm.
Worthington, I've been through there.
I have too. They were very good to me and fixed my car when I was on the way out to the Black Hills once.
Good people in Worthington. Yeah. My wife and I stayed there on our way out to South Dakota. Worthington's population, the 2010 census was 12,764. The estimate they make for 2016 is 13,136.
Okay, so their 2019 proposed levy is almost 4.2 million. Just to compare and contrast, and it's still going up 5.87%.
Well, they got to catch up with everybody. They're too low.
That's it. Too low. Got to catch up. Yeah. 5.87%. That's going up. I mean, this is happening all across the state. This is not just in one or two spots. I mean, like you said. I mean, the average is over 6%.
So 6% among municipalities. 5.7. I'm sorry, among municipalities. 6.2. So that's municipality. That's everything.
Yeah.
6.2 is for cities. Yeah, I mean, you can hardly find anything that
5%, 5.5% Winona. In Jasper is 4.4%. Lake City 3.58. That one's a little lower. I mean, it's.
Where the hell's Jasper, Minnesota? I'm looking that up.
Look that up for me. That's got to be. It's a pretty low. It's like $208,000 for the levy.
So it's Pipestone County. Now
way
that's
out west
by Worthington, right?
Well, it's north of there. It's like on the border with South Dakota, but it's north.
Cool.
I'm trying to think how far. It's not really far north.
No, it's pretty southwest.
But it is like on the border with South Dakota.
633 people.
Oh. Still, though, I mean, you're paying 4.4%. They still feel that the same.
Oh,
doesn't matter the size of the city. The percentage still hits you the same way.
Right. If there's only 100 households there, which is probably all there is.
Yeah.
You're getting hit, and then you're getting hit by the county. You're getting hit. I got to find out where Lake City is. That's going to bug me.
Yeah. I'm trying to
I always think of Lake County, but
that's way north. It's not in Lake County. But yeah, so like we said, this is happening all over the cities. This is happening all over the state.
Yeah, St. Croix, right on the river, Wabasha County.
Oh, okay. So it's over on the eastern border,
southeast. Yeah,
southeast. Oh, yeah, Lake City. We did the story about the farmer outside of Lake City and with the cows.
You're right.
Yep.
5,000 people there.
Yeah, where they wanted to. They were all concerned about this guy increasing his farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The water story. Yeah.
Yes, that is the one. Oh, it's crazy. But it's happening. It's happening all over. But it's not just in the cities.
Right, but here's my question.
Yeah.
Where are the low tax groups? Where's the Taxpayers League of Minnesota here? Yeah. Where is Americans for Prosperity? Where's Action for Liberty? Right. Maybe instead of making your useless legislative scorecards, maybe you could, report on what's going on here. Mm-hmm. I mean, here's the thing. We mentioned the surplus or the overtaxation at the top of the show. Well, imagine if there was a 6.2% tax increase that was proposed on incomes or something here. I mean, these groups would be going crazy. But if it happens at the local level, it's completely 110% ignored.
Right.
I mean, why is that? Why, again, is there just no... How many millions of dollars is this in total? That what's the difference whether your local government is taking it or your state government is taking it?
It's all... I mean, is it the same? I don't know. But your money is still being taken. An increase is still an increase. All these cities are increasing them. Hennepin County, it's going up 5.2%. They're talking about. That's the proposed there.
You'd be glad to know too. Mike Opad had quote reservations about it, and of course voted for it.
Right.
Talking about of his head and his ass.
I think he was making reservations to vote on it. Yeah, is what it was.
Never met a tax he didn't like.
Well, that's not necessarily.
Oh wait,
true.
the wheelage
tax. Yeah, so we give credit where credit is due.
Damn,
that's what we do.
You're right.
That's what we do here. But yes,
shoot. God, Jay, you made me look bad. I'm the color man here, and you made me look bad.
I'm sorry.
But you're right. He did. And I thanked him.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
When I saw him, I said, "Thank you for voting. I think you're an ass, but thank you for voting against that." I didn't say that. I'm just saying, I've just said to him, look, I just appreciate one time that you voted the right way. I mean, I'm sure he could have. I'm sure it. I didn't expect that out of him.
He could have voted for it. It wouldn't have been any skin off of his back.
No kidding. I mean, DFL wouldn't have loved him any less.
No.
So, it was cool. But, here's the thing. I mean, so if you live in New Hope and you got a 5% from Hennepin County, 18% from New Hope, we all know 281 just passed the levy.
Yeah.
What are you looking at? Say your property taxes are total is $2,000. I mean, I'll just throw out a number.
Yeah.
What is it going to be next year? $2,600? Oh, that's bigger than any income tax would affect a lot of people because of all the deductions.
Right.
So.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, like I was trying to explain. I mean, it's coming from everywhere. I mean, we didn't really talk about school districts yet. But, yeah, there was one just voted in 281. There is a 28.12% increase in the levy in District 318 up in Grand Rapids. It's at 28.12.
Why don't you just make it 100? I mean, what point do you just say, you know what, we'll just take everything, and if we feel like leaving some for you, we will.
Oh, I know. It's for that one, I mean, it'll be $81 annually for someone that has a $150,000 home.
And that's a pretty low price right now for a home.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what their prices are like up there.
Up
but
in Grand Rapids, it depends where you're at. You can find some of that stuff, I think, right in the city.
yeah,
but
you got an older part of town and a newer part of town.
if you're moving in a house next to the golf course up there or something
like
that.
Pekagama.
Yep, on Pekagama. Maybe you're out, a little bit, because I would imagine if you're out out of the city, you're still going to that school district.
Right. You're still in that school district, yes. In fact, I think it goes all the way to Bovey and Coleraine there.
Right.
And I don't think it quite goes to Deer River, but and I know Hill City to the south would be in Aiken County.
Right.
But, I mean, you're right, and I think the southern part of town is where it's a little more yuppity. The northern part is the older part.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, you're still paying, say you have a house that's worth $150, whether you can get it for that,
right,
or whatever you owe on it. I mean, everybody's in a different situation.
Well, it doesn't matter. It matters what the assessor says.
Right, that's true.
Yeah,
but I mean, to me, like I said, $150K for a house is pretty low. I mean, it must even if a house is old, a house will last forever. It's that's still large increases. And if the school district's taking X and the county's taking Y and the city's taking Z, and then the state dips in for something like a gas tax increase, I mean, or a wheelage tax from the county, at what point is it okay? We can't take it anymore. Yeah. What point does it collapse under its own weight? Mm-hmm. Now, I can't believe New Hope. I can't believe they don't have people humping the side of the building in protest. I mean, I'm stunned at that. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, our worst days in Crystal, okay, which is a little sketchy because of the assessments,
and the hidden taxes,
things like that.
Yeah,
but I mean,
all of the bonds they had written.
So it's kind of hard to get a handle on what the increases really were. But, I mean, how does somebody look at that statement in November and not go down, not parachute into that meeting with a pitchfork? And, I mean, I digest here.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you in San Francisco, that means I'm kidding. But I don't understand how this does. I don't understand how there isn't an angst or an anger or a feeling. I mean, where is that in that city? It is a pulseless city.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
No kidding.
That's like the
bend over
motto.
And grab your ankles.
I don't know. I don't know what you do. If you're in a city where people just don't care and they're apathetic about whatever government does, and we can't do anything for you. We can report the news, and we can tell you what's going on, and we can say, all right, well, here are the increases. Here's the added regulation. Here are the special interest groups that are coming in and having their way with your city, and you don't do anything with it, we can't do anything for you. But the good news is there are cities standing up. There are places where people are upset about what is going on at the city, school, and county level, and they're trying to do something about it, Andrew.
There aren't enough, but I just hope it's not too late to where this is ingrained to the point it can't be rolled back.
Right.
And I don't know what you do in a city like New Hope. I mean, I've sat there and I've seen 7, 8, 9% increases, 10%, thinking, geez, how can it get any worse? Oh, we'll just wait for the next year and it can get way worse.
The good news is, though, I mean, New Hope has made other cities look good because they can show up on the, hey, we're not as bad as list.
That's bad, though, because the city next to them could say, okay, well, hey, look what's happening in New Hope.
Right.
You think we're bad.
Oh, it's bad, yeah.
You think we're bad over there. I live in Plymouth. Plymouth just did a 4.7 increase. Claiming population growth. Their population boomed in the 80s and 90s. And it's pretty much flattened since. It's upticked a little bit, but nothing like the outer suburbs.
Right.
But Plymouth could say, hey, you don't like this, pay 4 times as much next door.
Right.
And then you kind of go, It doesn't justify Plymouth, but
No.
But they always have. Cities always like to do this. They always like to go to their I don't want to call them friends. Their fellow thieves, we'll call them, and just point to how bad it could be.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and this happens in Plymouth too. Lots of hidden taxes.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about franchise fees, I don't think they passed the hospitality tax, but I know they were discussing it.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
Yeah.
The rationale being other people will pay it.
Right.
So we want people to visit the city.
Right.
It's not enough that they go around and visit our businesses and go to our parks. Oh, no, we got to get some money from them while they do it. You know what I'd do? I'd stay at a city next door just to spite them is what I would do. It's like when I used to smoke, I would occasionally drive to Wisconsin to get cigarettes.
Yeah. You used to do that, huh?
Yeah, well, if it was a Sunday and the liquor stores weren't open, that would be my rationale. Well, I got to go get some adult beverages, we'll call them. And while I'm there, I might as well get smokes for $2 less a pack. Actually, they weren't that expensive when I smoked. I think they were $3-something, but they were still cheaper over there. I mean, Wisconsin, I know, make $1 less, take home $1 more. But so. I mean, you could go there. Granted, it's Hardee's, but, it's like doing that. But, yeah, it was, I definitely did that. I do know people who would go to South Dakota to do business, too. They would do that. You drive in western Minnesota, turn the radio on, every other commercial is come to South Dakota. They do a great job marketing.
Oh, yeah.
For government. Come here and pay no income tax. Come here and this is lower, this is lower, this is lower, this is lower.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great, it explains why California and New York are where they're at.
Yep.
And some other states are where they're at.
Yeah, but I'm going to say this as we're wrapping up, though, is that this is not a Minnesota problem. No. I mean, this is all over the country, and I don't care if you're in a red state. I don't care if you're in a blue state. I don't care if you're in Vermont. I don't care where you're at. You have your city councils that are raising your taxes, your county boards, your school districts that are raising your taxes, as well as your state government, as well as the federal government, and they're coming at you from all angles, trying to figure out new ways to tax you. And here's the thing. I mean, when you vote for a Democrat, you expect it. When you vote for a Republican, maybe you don't expect it, but you get it anyways because they capitulate. When you're in a nonpartisan election, you don't have that same expectation. You think, oh, they're gonna do right by me, right? I mean, these are my neighbors. These are the people that I live next to. If I pay it, they got to pay it.
Well, it's where you have to really study who you're voting for. I mean, we talked in the last show about who's funding these elections, and you gotta learn who the puppet masters are. I mean, that's maybe an unfair term, but I think
no.
Part of me misses the days. President Reagan, when he ran for president.
Yeah.
I say the second time because a lot of people forget that he ran in 1976.
That's true.
Against President Ford.
Yes.
Do you know that he was financed by about 6 people between 1976 and 79? One of them being, in my opinion, one of the top 5 singers of all time, Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
You know what he'd have to do today? He couldn't do that today.
Oh, no.
All that would go to a PAC,
right?
And he'd have to go around and get $50 and $100 contributions.
Yeah,
I don't know what system I like worse. I mean, you think about it. I've been thinking about this ever since last week because it's like I want transparency. At the same time, I do think that limits do affect my First Amendment rights as individuals. Yeah. Groups are different. Individuals are. Right. Protected under the First Amendment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, is a corporation a person?
I don't think so, and I don't think a union's a person either.
I don't either.
But I don't care what the Supreme Court says. But the point being that is all of how elections are, quote unquote, how money changes hands. It always has happened.
Yeah.
Have we done? I mean, we keep talking about taking the money out of politics. We've made, in my opinion, we've made things 10 times as worse.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've gotten rid of soft money, i.e., donating money to a party.
Yeah.
Now that money goes to a PAC,
which
has no direction from a candidate, no direction from a party, I mean, they can do it. I mean, I just remember the 2012, just real quick, Republican nomination process. And I remember a big feud between Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney over Mitt Romney's PAC. And Mitt Romney's like, look, I can't tell them, Newt, to stop attacking you. It's a felony for Mitt Romney to pick up the phone and call him and say, hey, leave Newt alone.
Right.
So have we created a system that's any better?
No.
I mean, way off subject here, but I've just been thinking about that since last week.
Well, maybe that's a future podcast.
I don't know. I'm just...
I'll have to mull that over. But if you like this podcast...
How could you not? Well, with the news, I mean...
it's a little depressing.
We promised to do more gooder shows in the future, happier shows. Do we? We promised that for 2 years, and we really haven't done it.
That's not true. I think when we had Mayor Adams on, that was a good show. And
like we said at the beginning, we had done a string of depressing shows,
right?
And that was supposed to be a good uplifting one, and it was.
Yeah,
it was a great interview with Jim.
Absolutely. So if you did not hear that one, go back and listen to that.
It is
episode 92.
It is a must listen to.
Yeah. But if you do like this one, if you could do us a big old solid and share it with your friends and family and let them know that their taxes are going up. There's a whole lot that they can do to be able to prevent this, but it takes getting involved.
And you people in New Hope, Rip Van Winkle living there, I mean, you got to get, if he is, he's going to wake up broke. So, I mean, we got to wake that city up. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take.
I don't know.
18%. I mean, why don't they just increase it 90%?
Huh? What's the difference?
But again, I mean, we've talked about this on previous episodes. Levy limits imposed from the state is not the way to fix this.
No.
And who's the state? Why don't the state impose levy limits on itself?
Well, there's a novel concept.
Yeah, you impose levy limits on somebody else, but you can spend whatever you want.
Right. But of course, there are no laws then to govern the new taxes that would come out of that.
Yeah. No, of course not.
No. Goodness. All right. Y'all need to spread this far and wide because, I mean, this is what we face. This is what we face. This is what you face. You want to change it? You got to get some skin in the game. You got to get involved. That means getting on an advisory commission. That means running for office. That means standing up and volunteering in your community and getting involved. Because if you don't do that, if you just sit home on that sofa with a spring sticking out of it, the rent-a-couch that Andrew talks about, guess what? Nothing's going to change. You can sit and scream at the TV. You can sit and on Facebook and Twitter.
And if you are screaming at the TV, turn it away from MSNBC and CNN. Why are you even bothering?
I don't know if any of them are any good. I don't know.
Well, some individuals are. I like Tucker Carlson.
Yes.
I always like John Stossel.
Yeah.
I think there's some individuals who are good.
That's good. That's true.
Networks, I'm going to take a pass.
Yeah. So why don't we agree to get involved? I mean, it worked for our forefathers who started this country. They decided, you know what? We need to do something. They did. Look what happened. Minnesota, we need to do something. So if you want to get involved, if you want to learn more, if you want to have us out to speak to your group anywhere in Minnesota, give us a call. Give us an email. You can get a hold of us at commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. That is commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. Also, let us know what's going on in your community. We'll talk about it here on this podcast. We'll let everybody know. We'll put some pressure where it needs to be, and that's on the people that got elected to represent you. So think about that for another week. We're going to go away and come up with another podcast, much like this one, but on a different topic next week. And so I know the anticipation is already starting to build. And we're going to go off and do that while you get to work and do your thing, because we have done our part, and we've done what we can. And we love you, Minnesota, and it's your turn now.